Hello and welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. I'm Namco sitting here with Dustin, and as we head into week 5, well, this is a great time to be looking to get some closers. So let's get right into the waiver wire. And I'm going to start with 2 closers that well-known names, Brad Lidge and Kerry Wood. I know what you're thinking. They had abysmal years last year. Like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. But what we're saying is go ahead and pick them up. They're coming off the DL. Stash them on your bench. See how they do. Who knows? They might, have a bounce back year. You might be able to plug them in your lineup. Or if they do start off very hot, they're going to be great trade bait for you.
Or if they start off terrible, you can just cut it.
Or just drop them.
That's where I thought you were going with that. I didn't want to lead. But we got a couple other guys for you. These guys are not the closers just yet, but a lot of times the best steals that you can get as far as closers go are picking up guys that take over halfway through the season or a few weeks into the season. And there's a couple battles going on, one in Washington and one in Milwaukee. First with Tyler Clippard out in Washington. He's been pitching really well, and Cap's out there has been pitching a little bit better lately, but we think it's only a matter of time for Clippard to take over this role, only on 50% of leagues. Now we got Villanueva out in Milwaukee. Trevor Hoffman, man, definitely not living up to what he did last year in this potential Hall of Fame career, but all good careers have to come to an end with 4 blown saves already this year.
It's looking old.
An ERA of 13, I think,
13
and 2
and
blown saves in the last 2 days. I mean, they got to take him out at some point. They can't keep losing games in the 9th inning. They do have Hawkins and Coffey out there, but neither of those guys are off to that hot of a start. Villanueva, 12 scoreless innings, 14 strikeouts already. Seems like the clear-cut guy to step in if they finally pull the plug on Hoffman.
All right, now let's take a look at some other guys you should be thinking about adding, and I'm going to start with 3 outfielders. The first one's Colby Rasmus of the St. Louis Cardinals. Right now, he's batting behind a 3-headed monster.
That's right, 3 heads.
This guy loves Ludwig.
Love him. He's a good batter in front of Pujols. Decent power you can get late in the draft. It's a 3-headed monster.
2-headed, Pujols, Ludwig, Holiday. He's batting 5th behind all of those guys. He's going to have plenty of RBI opportunities, only owned in 75% of leagues right now. Next, we have Will Venable, only owned in 20% of leagues. We've touched base on the San Diego Padre. He's been up and down over the course of the year. If he puts it together, he's going to be a great fantasy player. And last on my outfielder list, we have a guy that's owned in only 65% of leagues, and we just thought it was crazy. It's Nyjer Morgan of the Washington Nationals. If you look at his stats after the All-Star break last year, he batted .365 with 18 bags. I mean, this guy's going to get you a ton of speed. He should be owned pretty much universally, actually.
It's ridiculous. I was shocked to see that number. I mean, people are always drooling all over speed. Pick him up if he's available, please. All right, we got a catcher for you in Soto. Very disappointing year last year, but this Cubs catcher has really started off playing really well this year. Only owned in 75% of leagues. If you all need a catcher and he's available, go ahead and pick him up. Next, we got Clay Buchholz, another guy I was shocked to see, only owned in 50% of leagues. He plays for a good team, young guy with upside. He's off to a good start. Now, his whip is a little scary, but we still definitely think he's worth picking up just to see what happens. All right, now we got 3 guys for you to keep an eye on. We don't think you should necessarily pick these guys up unless you have a roster spot that you're just playing around with and you're looking on taking a long shot. Now, we do think these guys have huge upsides. We just doubt they're going to have big fantasy impacts this year. First one, Justin Smoak with Texas. A lot of hype around this guy. Davis just wasn't cutting it out there. They brought Smoak up to see what he can do. Only owned in 20% of leagues. It's going to be real interesting to see how he does over the next couple months.
Also owned in 20% of leagues is a very similar player in Ike Davis, first baseman for the Mets. Now, he's come out of the gate rather hot. He's batting for average. I believe he has a home run or 2. Definitely worth keeping an eye on at this point. But check him out, Ike Davis.
All right. We got one other guy for you, John Jaso, catcher for Tampa Bay. Now, he's not the everyday catcher right now. That's still Navarro. But in 18 at-bats so far this year, Jaso's batting .500 with a home run and 7 RBIs. Those are some really interesting numbers coming out of the catcher position. So if there's a big injury to Navarro, or if Jaso just ends up outplaying him and he comes to the everyday catcher, you might want to pick him up and just see what he can do. That's it for this week's show. As always, post anything in the forums if you want to chat any baseball. I'm Dustin. This is Brent. See you next week.